reported speech, statements, questions, commands and speech acts. He said. They said. She said. Contents. 1. Defining reported speech. 2. Reported statements. 3. Reported questions. 4. Reported requests and commands. 5. Reported speech acts. 6. Reporting verb. Defining reported speech. Reported speech, also known as indirect speech, is the process of paraphrasing or reporting someone else's words. It allows us to relay information from one person to another or making appropriate changes in tenses, pronouns, and time expressions. Defining reported speech. Reported speech is used to express what someone said without quoting her exact words. We use reported speech when we want to tell someone what someone said. We usually use a reporting verb, e.g., say, tell, ask, etc., and then change the tense of what was actually said in direct speech. Reported statements. When reporting statements, we need to shift the tense back in time backshifting. For example, present simple changes to past simple, present continuous to past continuous, etc. Pronouns and place and time references may also need to change. If the message of the reported statement is still valid at the moment of reporting it, then there is no backshifting. Reported statements. To express in the present tense what someone just said, we only need to remove the quotation marks, change the subject pronoun and the person of the verb. I am tired. He says that he is tired. But we usually use reported speech in the past. In this case, the verb that follows moves one step towards the past, the present simple becomes past simple becomes past perfect, etc. Reported statements. Besides removing the quotation marks and changing the verb tenses, we must change the demonstrative pronouns, possessive pronouns and time and place expressions. Reported statements. The subordinate clause is introduced by the conjunction that, but it is omitted in spoken English. I'll start the investigation today, the detective said. The detective said that he would start the investigation that day. Reported statements. If the sentence expresses a general truth, we do not change the verb tense. Crime is punished by the law, she said. She said that crime is punished by the law. Reported statements. Tenses. We change direct speech into reported speech by putting the main verb further into the past. Present simple changes into past simple. Present continuous changes into past continuous. Present perfect simple changes into past perfect simple. Past simple changes into past perfect simple. Am, is, are going to change into was, were going to. We don't change the past perfect simple. They had eaten change to she said that they had eaten. Most modals do not change form in reported speech. However, will, can and must do change. Will changes to would. Can changes to could. Must changes to had to. I will call her changed to he said he would call her. Pronouns and possessive adjectives. We also change the pronouns and possessive adjectives which refer to who the speaker is talking about. We arrived early, he said. He said that they had arrived early. Time and place expressions. Time expressions. Now changes to then. At that moment. Today, tonight. Changes to that day, night. This week, month. Changes to that week, month. Yesterday. Change to the day before. Last week, month. Changes to the week, month before. 2 days ago. Changes to 2 days earlier. Tomorrow. Changes to the next, following day. Next week changes to the next, following week. Time and place expressions. Place expressions. This. Change into that. These. Change into those. Here. Change into there. Say and tell. As you know, the most common verbs to introduce reported speech are say and tell. Tell is always followed by an indirect complement without the preposition to. Say can be followed by an indirect complement or not, but if it is, it must be preceded by the preposition to. The police caught the robber, he said. He told us that the police had caught the robber. He said that the police had caught the robber. He said to us that the police had caught the robber. Say and tell. The reporting verbs say and tell have the same meaning, but are used differently. Say, plus that, plus reported speech. They said that they had lived in Tirana. But, tell plus indirect object, plus that, plus reported speech. They told me that they had lived in Tirana. Say and tell. We use tell plus object, plus not, plus to plus infinitive for reporting orders and instructions, but we don't use say. Don't drive fast. He told me not to drive fast. Reported questions, yes, no questions and WH questions. There are 2 types of questions in English. Yes, no questions are those that can be answered with yes or no. To change them to reported speech, we use the verb ask plus if or whether. As the question becomes a statement, the order of the sentence is subject plus verb and we remove the quotation marks. Did the contestant win a lot of money? Matt asked. Matt asked whether the contestant had won a lot of money. Reported questions, yes, no questions and WH questions. WH questions are those that cannot be answered with yes or no. They start with an interrogative particle, what, who, where, when, why, whose, how long, etc. To change them to reported speech, we use the interrogative particle instead of if or whether. The order of the sentence is subject plus verb and we remove the quotation marks. What is the name of the new show? Sue asked. Sue asked what the name of the new show was. Reported orders. To change an order to reported speech, we change the verb in imperative to infinitive. Before the infinitive, we must use a verb expressing demand, like tell or order, followed by an indirect complement. We can also use the verbs ask or beg to make requests, invite to extend an invitation and warn for warnings. Stop driving so fast. My mother ordered me to stop driving so fast. Reported orders. When it is a negative sentence, we put not before to. Don't tell anybody. He begged me not to tell anybody. Reporting verbs and structures. We use this structure for reported commands. Subject plus verb plus object plus to infinitive. Sit down. He ordered them all to sit down. Reporting verbs and structures. For negative commands, use not before to. Don't forget to send me a text. She reminded him not to forget to send her a text. Reporting verbs and structures. We can use verbs such as ask, tell, order, remind and warn to give commands in reported speech. Be quiet. The librarian told us to be quiet. Reporting verbs and structures. We use suggest or recommend in reported suggestions. Let's go to the beach. Tom suggested that we go to the beach. Tom suggested going to the beach. Reported suggestions. We put the subject and the verb suggest in the past tense and we add what the person said. Suggestions can be changed to reported speech in two different ways. Using a clause formed by that subject and verb in the base form. The verb demand, which also expresses order, follows this structure as well. Let's watch the new TV show, Tom suggested. Tom suggested that we watch the new TV show. Reported suggestions. With a gerund, not specifying any subject. Let's phone the police immediately. She suggested phoning the police immediately. Reporting verbs and structures. We use suggest or recommend in reported suggestions. Let's go to the beach. Tom suggested that we go to the beach. Tom suggested going to the beach. Summary reporting verbs. The most common verbs to introduce reported speech are say, tell and ask, which transmit the message without adding any extra information. But if we want to transmit the speaker's intention, we can use many other reporting verbs. Statements. Admit. Announce. Answer. Apologize. Boast. Claim. Complain. Declare. Explain. Inform. Insist. Mention. Offer. Remind. Reply. State. Questions. Inquire. Request. Want to know. Wonder. Orders. Ask. Demand. Order. Shout. Warn. Requests. Beg. Suggestion. Advise. Invite. Recommend. Suggest. Examples of reporting verbs. I will be home late. She reminded me that she would be home late. Did you arrive on time? Dave wanted to know if I had arrived on time. Be careful. He shouted at me to be careful. You should do your homework. The teacher advised me to do my homework. Remember. Reported questions. Reported questions have a different word order to direct questions, but we change the tenses in the same way. Verb plus subject, direct question. How old are you? She asked. Subject plus verb, reported question. She asked me how old I was. Remember. Reported questions. If a direct question uses question words such as who, why, when, how or what, we repeat the question word in the reported question. How tall is he? She asked me how tall he was. Remember. Reported questions. If a direct question doesn't use question words, we use if or whether in the reported question. Are you hungry? Mum asked us. Mum asked us whether we were hungry. I'm traveling to Italy tomorrow. On the same day. She says she is traveling to Italy tomorrow. After the day. She said she was traveling to Italy the following, next day. Remember. Reported questions. In reported questions, we transform the question into an affirmative sentence and use a reporting verb like ask or inquire. We use the conjunction if or whether when reporting yes, no questions. Are you coming to the party? What are you bringing? Yes/no question. He asked me if I was coming to the party. WH question. He asked me what I was bringing to the party. Reported requests and commands. Commands, also known as imperatives, can be reported using reporting verbs like tell or order followed by an infinitive verb. Requests, on the other hand, are usually reported using verbs like ask and an infinitive verb. Commands and requests are speech acts. We will learn more about reporting speech acts on the following slides. Call me when you get home. Don't stay out late. Request. She asked me to call her when I get home. Only the main verb changes in complex sentences, not when I got home. Command. She told me not to stay out late. Reported speech acts. Speech acts refer to the function of an utterance, such as making a request, giving advice, or making an apology. In reported speech acts, we report the illocutionary force of the original utterance while maintaining the intended meaning. The locutionary act refers to the literal or surface meaning of an utterance. The illocutionary act refers to the intended function or force behind the utterance, which conveys the speaker's intention. Why don't you try the new restaurant? Reported locutionary act. He asked me why I didn't try the new restaurant. Reported illocutionary act. He suggested I try the new restaurant. Remember. Reporting verbs. Reporting verbs are verbs used to introduce reported speech and speech acts in the narrative. They serve as linguistic cues to signal the type of reported speech or the attitude of the reporting speaker toward the reported content. Reporting verbs patterns. V plus that clause. Admit. Agree. Announce. Argue. Claim. Complain. Demand. Explain. Mention. Point out. Promise. Say. State. Suggest. V plus to infinitive. Agree. Claim. Demand. Offer. Promise. Refuse. Threaten. V plus O plus that clause. Assure. Inform. Notify. Tell. Reassure. Remind. Warn. V plus O plus to infinitive. Beg. Encourage. Invite. Order. Remind. Tell. Warn. V plus gerund. Admit, to. Deny. Mention. Suggest. V plus prep plus gerund. Apologize for. Insist on. Object to. Argue about. V plus O plus prep plus gerund. Accuse of. Congratulate on. Praise for. Thank for. Happy learning. Thank you for watching.